Marines. The Hellions can't do anything. The Banshee can't do anything because he has the missile turrets. And he's just, you know, maybe he'll have to lose some SCVs repairing the bunker, or the Hellions will run by the bunker.
But he has the faster CC.
He doesn't lose the game instantly,
right.
is what I'm trying to get at here. And Merry-Go-Round is not a map that favors Polt's please let me expand strategy.
No, and the hard lesson we're learning in this 15 minutes of TVT schooling is be the aggressor right now, because that's been ForGG each time, and so far it's worked out to a 2-0 advantage to advance into that next pivotal round of this DreamHack Winter 2014, where the prizes go up, the stakes go up. We've got some epic names. Now, keep in mind this is a winter match, so of course, even if Polt does finish the embarrassment and lose 0-3, it's not the last of them. We'll see him tomorrow anyways.
Yeah, and he'll get to play against Tasia, which nobody wants to do.
No.
For sure. Polt, you know, this is really giving me vibes back to Battlegrounds Atlanta when he played Bomber in the final and just got wrecked by those early aggressive plays. The only way that he actually recovered to beat Tasia in the next tournament was to be equally cheesy. Will he, you know, pull out that dark power this time and play one base versus ForGG and say, you know what, screw it, I don't need to expand? That is an important question for this man in the top right as we move into game number 3. In the red, he needs to win 3 maps in a row if he wants to stay in the winner's bracket. He is CM Storm's Polt.
And he's got the opening that apparently is necessary. There's that gas first. And his opponent so far has not taken a gas, so Polt could actually win this. Well, let's finish off the introductions. His opponent driving up the score to 2-0 very quick. It is Millennium's ForGG. All right, Nathanius. This is not a gas first opening.
Yeah, ForGG is going to play with a late gas. He has a couple of signature-esque builds out of the 15 supply gas build, and this really shows how comfortable he feels in this series right now. He's playing on, you know, you could say one of the maps that spawned the endless gas first play because of how good it is for those strategies. And Polt, but the way that he set himself up, you know, this is the ultimate nitpicking of like looking at Terran openings. But DeMuslim and I had our minds blown a little bit watching MMA play versus Stardust at Fragbite, and just the supply. Like usually you queue up your 12th SCV before you take the gas. Polt built it while his 11th SCV was halfway done. So he got his gas fast enough that he can get a reactor pretty quickly on this barracks. He doesn't, you know, unless he was up against a Reaper, like he could pretty safely in almost anything just build his reactor right now and like not even get this Marine. But not knowing exactly what ForGG is doing complicates things a little bit.
So we'll see if he gets that reactor, and of course he'll need that to produce the number of Marines necessary to hold off the oncoming aggression. Polt has a factory pretty far along here, approaching 50%, just the one gas, so of course that cloaked Banshee opening that we saw from ForGG just one game prior, probably not going to be the one queued up here. And there goes the 400 minerals from ForGG, and that'll be the command center opening. So let's see if he can make it work.
Yeah, if I know my ForGG, he's probably my favorite Terran player to follow, especially because he streams so much.
Oh, wow.
He really likes to open up with 4 Marines out of this barracks. He's going to start his factory now. And what we're most likely going to see out of him is he gets up to 6 Marines. He uses them to defend the front and the line, sometimes a bunker if he feels like he needs it. He may need it this time around, but he's going to secure this expansion, switch that factory right onto the reactor, go straight for Hellions. And this is one of the builds he uses where he does sometimes get that engineering bait, and he's just going to play fast Vikings as quickly as he can to defend against a possible one-base pressure from Polt.
Okay. That's something we were kind of seeing from Polt in the game before. He was trying to get those Vikings out, but with a disastrous medevac death mid-map that, of course, never really mattered. Medevac is queued up here for Polt. Polt getting Hellions out. That's worth mentioning as well. No Widow Mine that I can see. So it looks like it could just be those 4 Hellions, what, 6 Marine timing attack?
What Polt is doing this game is basically what ForGG did versus him on Catalina. This Hellion, Marine, Medevac elevator. And Polt actually expect him to bring this Hellion all the way back home and repair it, because you definitely need as much firepower as you can get for attacks like this. But if, like, ForGG's build is kind of designed to deal with specifically this opening, because he's already getting out Hellions, and every little moment that Polt spends not moving to ForGG's base, he's getting ahead because he has this command center finishing up. He's got really good Hellion production, and as long as you can catch, look at the way his supply depot is put at the top of his base. If he can catch this medevac coming towards his base, and he picks off those units as they're coming out and doesn't let the Hellions get elevated as well, ForGG could deflect this super easily, but there is a dark spot where Polt's going to try to unload, and his SCV sees it.
Yeah, ForGG is just ahead. He's going to move over here to intercept. He's the one with Hellions here, and Polt, probably wisely so, is going to relocate. His Hellions are still across the map, not yet in elevator position. Meanwhile, ForGG is going to have one of his Hellions chased back, and the aggressor that is Polt is just now throwing down his second CC, so if he gets no damage here, a huge advantage for ForGG.
Yeah. This is really nice because Polt knows that ForGG knows that Polt is the kind of Terran player that likes to expand in this matchup. Polt is not the guy to oftentimes go for one base play, and he has done it in maybe 1 or 2 maps all year long that I've been able to see from the many TVTs he's played, and even that was against players like Bomber and Tasia. Specifically Tasia, I remember in a game on Overgrowth, but that's not what he wants to do. And ForGG, if he defends, he's ahead, straight up. This drop is going to come in, he's going to bring the Hellions as well. ForGG's Marines are in his main base, so he's going to get some damage done here at the natural.
Nice concave from Polt, really spreading out those units, not allowing them to get flamed up. A lot of Hellions dying from ForGG actually at the top of that ramp. It looks like this natural should get dislodged. I don't know that it'll die, there's no stim available for this, and ForGG's got to be pretty okay if that's all the damage that he takes, because honestly, if these Marines and Hellions get to the top of that ramp safely, they have overwhelming force with those double medevacs, but I think getting to the top of that ramp is going to be a task probably too hard.
ForGG still just about even on the worker count because he got his expansion so much faster, so he's going to come down, he's going to pick off most of these units. The auto turret is super important. The Hellions won't do bonus damage to it. It's got an armor to use against those Marines, and yeah, he's going to clean this up.
Oh my gosh.
And now ForGG is set up for stage 2. This factory's going to plant down. He's going to immediately start Blue Flame. The barracks for ForGG just finished building a reactor. He's going to move his starport onto that. We're going to see him pump out maybe four or so Vikings. It's going to line up close to when his Blue Flame is done. And I expect them to just push up the front and try to kill Polt, just, you know, straight up. And I'm really interested in if Polt recognizes this build, because ForGG actually killed him with this 2 games in a row when they played a DreamHack Stockholm.
Nathanius, your TVT calls right now have it reminiscent of the Oracle from episode 1, 2, and not 3 of the Matrix movie.
Okay.
Do you know
I was
that?
really scared you were going to reference something other than the Matrix to be like, I don't really know about many other Oracles.
No, you know the Matrix, though. You know that.
I'm not that young.
No, not that young. This orbital right now, both players are mining off their natural, but look at the supply difference. Right now, ForGG is enjoying life. Now, Polt is anchoring himself with tanks. Does he got what it takes to hold this, Nathanius?
Not really.
No.
Like, against this, Polt hasn't landed his Vikings or anything, because you normally don't expect your opponent to land all their Vikings before they push into you, and he's going to use this to come up and scout. I do expect him to land all of his forces. It's one of the ways that he does this. Maybe he'll just fight for air positioning first. He doesn't have a point defense drone, but yeah, even that, little bit of a pickoff, not bad at all. And his Blue Flame is just about ready. I'm really interested to see. I'm kind of expecting it now.
He has not repaired these Hellions.
He could actually land these on the high ground and use them to draw fire too, or at least pull those Marines out of position with an auto turret. That'd be a really, really nice play. But these Marauders are almost done, which are going to help a lot.
Gets a second Viking before it lands as well. Very silently outside of the base. Polt doesn't know this, but there's a storm of brewing. Blue Flame is finished. A lot of Hellions are amassing. There's more than enough Vikings to dominate the skies.
Yep, the Vikings have landed. He's going to throw an auto turret up front to tank the first few shots. There we go. Here come the Hellions, these Marines. There's not really a lot of them, and without combat shield, they die pretty fast. He just doesn't have enough. ForGG gonna kill Polt with mass Hellion, as he's done many another player. This tank on the high ground gonna hold position, but the SCVs in the natural getting absolutely ransacked. There's not enough Marauders to slow down this many Hellions, and ForGG charging the ramp. SCVs dying left and right. These Marauders not quite enough. He's gonna kill him. It's pretty
40
much it.
supply advantage. He's pushing for the high ground. He's killed almost everything. The Marauders doing what they can, but even if this attack technically gets pushed off, it's not a cleanup. This is like a death throw where you kind of push them away and you're like, let me die alone for a minute.
Yeah. This game probably won't end within the next minute or so, but ForGG has secured a substantial enough advantage that the odds of Polt coming back against somebody who is so good at playing mech in this matchup are slim to none. He really can't afford to leave his base because ForGG is generally very active with his Hellions. I think at this point he's kind of worried of Polt going for a counterattack. But if Polt can't harass him, then as the mecher, you're free to just get that armory, do whatever you want, get that third base, and just build upon the advantage that you created by killing all of your opponent's SCVs.
Oh, this is the greatest part of the game, is when you deal that death blow and then it's like Pax Romana for you back at home, where you're like, well, I'm gonna make Blue Flame Hellions and Thors, and I'll add 3 Ravens, because, you know, like every choice he makes at this point in time, it doesn't matter. They're all great. Every single one of them. It's like third orbital. I love it. There's no way Polt can match that. He's making more Blue Flame Hellions. Fantastic.
Note how our meching player is actually not even queued. He's just queued his first siege tank at 13.5 minutes. He's just playing around with an absurd number of Hellions because even against Marauders, when you have enough of them, if you're hitting 3 or 4 Marauders with those Hellions, you're still dealing an absurd amount of damage thanks to the splash. And when you've got 30 Hellions, it doesn't really matter what you're defending against.
There's gonna be splash.
Yeah.
It's like a community boys' bathroom. There's gonna be splash. It's guaranteed.
And it won't be fun, that's for sure. ForGG is also now adding in Banshees. Marauders, you're like, oh, Marauders, yeah, they're great versus Hellions. Well, ForGG's like, well, since I already established air control 5 years ago, moving into Banshees is not a bad play. He actually does this pretty often, getting a drop now into the main base with some Hellbats and just picking off a few more SCVs, up to 24 killed total.
Do you love that choice?
And there's not very many bad moves left that ForGG could do this game because every little blow he lands on Polt just reduces the odds that Polt ever actually leaves his base.
Every move he makes.
Yeah, every step he takes.
How on earth do you get a Sting in the Police reference, but you missed everything else? Well, a classic to you is like Mbop, so I don't really understand that you nailed that so hard. But we're gonna do version 2.0 of this timing attack. Here comes the Blue Flame Hellions. No upgrades.
Double the Hellions, double the fun.
Yeah, it might actually be that many. There's not.
He has an armory too. I think Hellbats would actually.
You know what?
I don't think he
got
can kill
a lot of Marauders.
I like this though, like the one tank siege where he's like, if you come down this ramp, you will be so choked up that my Hellions will actually just kill you.
I don't think he can go up here actually. The Banshee's gonna this is the slowest of deaths.
Yeah, Thor's name is pretty famous for being the spoon, but I really feel like ForGG's just carving him to death with the spoon. Maybe a wooden spoon at this point.
ForGG's trying to emulate the tablespoon right now. Goes after this tank.
Does that exist? The tablespoon's thing in Europe? I don't know. Our measurements are pretty bad, so I'm not quite sure.
It's like a tablespoon or something.
It's like,
something like that.
Milliliter spoon, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So ForGG's getting up a 4th command center now, getting +2 attack. He's moved into full tank production. I think he's getting these tanks here. Normally this shouldn't be possible, but Polt just doesn't have enough units to fight against all of this. Like ForGG he could basically charge up this ramp right now. He doesn't need to. He's like, I'm just making sure I won't lose this game.
He's just making more Blue Flame Hellions behind this. He's actually going to max out on Blue Flame Hellions.
This is so fun when you do it on ladder and it works. And he's just like, hey man, I got a lot of Hellions. Sup? He's walking, kill everything.
He's doing this against Polt. Here goes the final attack. Most likely tanks behind this. Polt, you know, you've been doing good. You've got games to play tomorrow, but right now ForGG is the man in the sun from the bar from Nathanius, and there ain't much more behind that. He can't pick up. There's actually Vikings there. Polt's just kind of coming to grips with this, guys. He's got his Marauders by his command center.
He's taken every unit that he has, dropped it into ForGG's base. He's like, okay, I'm gonna try to kill all this. Then he realizes most of them are Marauders, and the Banshee's about to have cloaks, so like this isn't, you know, this is like a last play desperation move, but against a 4-base Terran, this is kind of, you know,
I like it though.
Last hurrah.
Went for the production.
His Bejeweled timer ran out. He gets to blow up the last couple gems, and that's it.
Yeah. It's the unfortunate reality that there's just too many Banshees, actually. Like, even if he killed all these Blue Flame Hellions, he just doesn't have anything that shoots up. Yeah, well, normally you expect the mech player to be the one that's worried about dealing with air transitions, but when you build a ton of Marauders to fight tanks, you're in the same spot. GG, ForGG sweeps 3-0 and moves on. He's going to be playing against Life. Yeah, he's one of the very few guys that makes all those aggressive plays in TVT seem so insignificant. And that's why he's the scariest guy to see when you queue up for TVT on ladder. And he's been that way for a while. ForGG's gonna finish the day on a high note, another 3-0. Some more of the fat being trimmed. But I'll tell you, it's kind of cool because we're building up that storyline. These juggernauts that are tossing around these otherwise very good players are eventually gonna have to collide, and we're building up for a fantastic, as they say in Europe, finale with an E that sounds like an E.